Magazogwa benaye. Onyagwa megi metwele gele. Itwe sasa no berame. Itwe sasa me no biye mo. Itwe amaduro ga itwe no nyagwa. Iwa edie do ne baba. Iwa yo to no magyo wade. Iwa oto ni vyo wanyana o. Iwa desu kumeneri nwe. Iwa uwa ya o.
Biogun.
Iye wa were o. Iwa wa o. Ula wo iwa wa mene baba. Ula o iragi me yeke agi gaka. Ula wo asame ale. Asame alo. Iwa wa ne wa o. Iwa yo tu no go me. Iwa yo me no go me. Iyari ni mama ga yo ro. Imaga kia o mama ga be so wa. Imaga kia o mama ga so wa o.
Okay, yes, top of the morning to you all, wherever you're joining from. My name is Comrade Lamte Oriahi, and Edo State, Benin City, as a matter of fact, has been the news for this reason, basically, and a lot more than this. And of course, there's been commentaries from all nooks and crannies of this world over what transpired in Benin with respect to MOWAA. And somehow, if you watch this content, I have titled it The Truth, the Lies, the Victims, and the Future. There's a big story around this particular story that is still emerging because a lot of development are still taking place. But one thing that everybody must observe that I will not fail to talk about is that so many people are quiet. I'm making this video to break my own silence as far as this matter is concerned. I've been very quiet, but I've been observing everything. And I know a thing or two concerning this matter. And that is why I decided tonight, even while the story is still very much developing, I decided tonight to talk about some part of it, because this is one matter that I've observed so far that has divided us as a people, particularly the Beninese. And that is the reason why I also, in the course of this broadcast, talk, about the victims of this whole process. I must say, I must start with Governor Gordon Obaseki. Now, I have looked at this, pictures that have emerged from the edifice itself, a MOWAA. I've looked at a lot of things around the MOWAA and every other thing. And I've seen all of the issues that have played out in recent days. And of course, the things are still playing out. I want to start with Governor Obaseki. And one thing I want to say is this, for all of those people to understand. Today, historically, to date, there are two governors that have been standard governors as far as Edo State is concerned. These two governors, their names have remained in the annals of history of Edo State because of the indelible mark they left in the land. Governor Gbemudia. Governor Gbemudia built Edo State. As a matter of fact, he built Bende State. The structures that Gbemudia left for the defunct Bende State vis-a-vis Edo State, they are the same, structures that every governor is still trying to build on. Now, Ogbemudia is a standard governor that is a reference point, and it's going to be so for generations to come. The other governor who, is another standard governor is Governor Ali. And these guys left legacies that, can still be referred to today, tomorrow, and even years to come because of what they did. Every other governor that governed Edo State, somehow, many of them get forgotten when matters of importance and relevance are being discussed. Now, in 2020, when Obaseki was contesting for his re-election, many of us had hope when we were supporting him then that this is one governor whose name will also be engraved on that marble of remembrance forever, who will leave a lasting legacy that time will only renew. But the history of Obaseki's governance, particularly in the second term, where Edo State people had so much hope, can only be told now from the point of view of those who, experienced his governance and where each person, stood. On a general scale, people have different opinions concerning Obaseki's governance. Please bear with me. I like that I have this discussion with a very open mind. And if you are listening, please, even though you've taken side, where you're talking from. Please I just want us to have this conversation with clear, with clear-headedness, with openness of the mind, because that's what I want to talk about. Now, like I said, I was trying to establish, Governor Obaseki. Now, since Obaseki left office, I have been asking myself, because Okpebholo, as the current governor of Edo State, I have argued, I probably am still making that case, that whatever relevance Okpebholo is having currently is the relevance given to him by Governor Obaseki because of the aura that surrounded his governance and, of course, the way he even exited the scene. Now, the question I'll be asking is, what would I say? And you may ask yourself the same question. What would I say is that fundamental legacy of Obaseki as Edo State is concerned? Because currently, as we speak, everything that Obaseki seems to stand for, or people will refer to as, this is an Obaseki arrangement, they all seem to have been raised under 1 year. Now, when we talk of an indelible legacy, it is difficult to erase an indelible legacy. Very, very difficult. As a matter of fact, it's so hard. That is why there is no governor today that will govern Edo State that anybody will argue to say that this governor has erased Ogbemudia's legacy in Edo State. It's not there, because they are quite indelible. Now, that being said, having looked around, to say, what can we say? What can I say that this is Obaseki's legacy? Now, in the course of this whole imbroglio, I could really say that for me, Obaseki left no legacy in Benin. Having said that, I think that this edifice, and with all of what it contains, would be that which people would have regarded, that I would have regarded as a major structural, indelible legacy of the Obaseki administration. Now, if that is going to be said, if that is going to be the case, this story is still developing. But up until this crisis, the MOWAA structure and all of what, it captured, or all that is encapsulated in it, is a legacy of beauty and eternity. And for the vision, for everything about the actualization, where not the process leading to the actualization, but the structure itself, the vision for the structure, and of everything around it, honestly, is a statement of fact, that of a truth. Obaseki is a man actually of pure intellectual sagacity. A man who, if he decides to say he wants to use his intellectualism for the purpose of the general good, he will be a standard man. Without all of these crises that have enveloped Edo State today, Obaseki's name probably would have been indelibly written in the annals of political history of Edo State, if not Nigeria, as again a third standout governor of Edo State. But would that be the case? Because when truth is enveloped with lies and deceit, many things become very questionable. And that is the premise upon which I wish to, actually premise this discourse. And I'm going to try to open all of them. But I'm going to start with what I would call a charade that took place. All of those things that happened, that today, a lot of people across the world are condemning and have condemned. And that what I'm talking about is this. With what happened in the most uncivilized manner that many, are condemning, that personally brought huge shame to me. I have wept over this matter. I've cried. Apparently not because I am heaping excessive blame on these actors, but because something has led to something that has led to something that has led to this. And so instead of me now to base my own discourse on this, I have chosen to base my discourse on the very beginning of this process that has culminated into this. And I've taken my mind back and I've said to myself, oh, how graceful today Obaseki ought to have been in Edo State. How proud, how highly elevated he ought to have been in Edo State. If only things had gone on procedurally with all honesty of purpose, putting Edo State first and foremost before any other thing. Now, Edo State people, I will not stop short, okay, like I've already established, okay, giving kudos to this particular edifice that stands out as one of the best in the world, ranks very strongly amongst the best as far as this world is concerned. And to know that this is conceived and bettered in Edo State, in Benin City, for me, partly is a huge pride. Even though that pride is seriously besieged by all of this drama playing out. Now, before we go deep down into the basis of this matter, the very beginning of that has led us to where we are, and the reason why this matter, the edifice we see, is true. The all of the things inside of this whole, edifice itself, okay, they are mind-boggling and they are true, but this whole beauty is shrouded in lies, is shrouded in deceit, is shrouded in a whole lot that is so annoying. At the end of the day, it makes all of us, irrespective of where we stand, irrespective of whatever side we take, it makes all of us a victim of this process. All of us. Anywhere you stand, you are a victim. But before we go into the inwising of the matter, let me just show you some clips that have come out, that I've seen about this edifice that for me, honestly, they are mind-blowing.
What?
Looks like it was painted. It's a mask. Can you imagine that?
That's a mask?
They say it's a mask. Must weigh a ton. Must have shoulder supports or something.
Oh, for a festival.
This edifice is a well-conceived work, of architecture. It's a beautiful piece, sited in Edo State, in Benin City. A great, work of vision. There is no doubt about it. A structure, ordinarily, honestly, that I would hope that the overall good of it will still come to Edo State. That this very, small disturbance will not be a hindrance for the future of this. Looking at this and all that it encapsulates makes me, or made me all the time, to say there is no doubt that Obaseki, is a man of great intellect, except that when intellectualism is shrouded, and it's not straightforward, then it becomes very questionable. But there's no taking, downgrading the fact that we had a man who was governor of this state, whose intellectual sagacity cannot be questioned. And all of that is part of what has led to this this particular edifice, and the way it was structured and and construed and every other thing, except that something from the very beginning is missing. Otherwise, if those things were not missing, I mean, there is no way any governor's glory right now will shroud the effort put into actualizing this by Governor Godwin Obaseki. But right now, if that is still going to be a matter of recognition, in the future, it remains to be seen, because there's a lot already going on right now. A lot that, some of which I'm going to talk about in the course of this broadcast. But I'm just trying to show some of these pictures, some of these excerpts, so that we understand, exactly what we are talking about, and so that we give accolade to where accolade needs to be given. Because if there was no, if this was just a wishy-washy, arrangement, it will not make headlines as it's making right now, But we must recognize that some effort was put into having this in Benin, and this effort was midwifed by Governor Obaseki. But except that is the cross of the matter that has now put us in the news, not for the very pleasant reasons, I would say. And some of us, irrespective of where we stand, there are things that we do not agree with, and of course, we cannot question, because it's some or swan is some way. Now shit, now they push shit for Nyash. Now I've just tried to establish some things, that have come out, so that we understand that this is a very important, piece of infrastructure that is started in Edo State that has the capacity to be very transformatory as far as Edo State is concerned. And I hope we are still able to navigate all of these processes and get back to that point. And let's go into the story. In establishing the story, Obaseki is a two-time governor of Edo State. He governed for 8 years. In Obaseki's first term, I've tried to check the archives, and I realized that all through Obaseki's campaign process, both first term and second term, there was something that wasn't part of Obaseki's manifesto. Obaseki talked about building roads, about providing electricity, independently generated by Edo State, about providing security. Some of those basic things, particularly in his first term. He talked about, he campaigned, following the footsteps of Shomole to ensure that, education is improved and all of that. Healthcare service delivery and every other thing. Talked so much about primary healthcare, service delivery and many other things. What was not vivid, what was not visible, what I did not see nor hear in Obaseki's campaign when he was coming as governor of Edo State first term. Obaseki never told Edo State people, as part of his manifesto, that he had a plan to give Edo State a world-class museum. Now that brings a question. How did the matter of museum come about? Because if everything had been straight, like I said earlier, this would be a landmark legacy that will be tied to Obaseki's name forever. But unfortunately, I very much doubt if that future is actually going to be so. Now, Obaseki didn't have museum as part of his mandate, as by way of his manifesto. Now, having said that, for those who may not know, in the first term of Governor Godwin Obaseki, something very unusual happened. The Oba of Benin paid a courtesy visit on the governor of Edo State. He went to visit him personally in his office. It was widely, publicized. Everybody saw that visit. And after the visit, there have been a series of movements here and there. At the point, Obaseki began to let everybody know that there is the plan to build a Benin Royal Museum. Now, how did that plan come about? We came to be aware later when the Omonoba Neduku Akbolokbolo was trying to espouse, some of the discourse he has had with Obaseki much earlier. And he talked about having a Benin Royal Museum. And as a matter of fact, as time went on, we began to also realize and recognize that even the idea of Benin Royal Museum was not an idea conceived by the present Oba of Benin. It was the vision of his father and his grandfather. That with our own art, Benin, artifacts having been looted and have been away, and effort has been made to get them back. If we succeed in getting them back, they should be housed in a Benin Royal Museum. And so one of the first major requests that the Oba of Benin made to governor said, please join in this program so that we can get all of these. As these artifacts are coming, they should be housed in Benin Royal Museum. And Obaseki spoke to the recognition of this. Let's take a listen.
Before I end my speech, as you know, Your Royal Majesty, I just arrived this morning. About this same time yesterday in Leiden, in the Netherlands, the Benin Dialogue Group had a meeting. And for those of you who don't know, the Benin Dialogue Group is made up of all the prominent museums in Europe, members of the Royal Court, and officials of the government of Edo State. At that meeting yesterday, we decided, and I assured the group, that a Benin Royal Museum will be built and completed before the 20th of October in 3 years' time. We also got the commitment of the group that they were going to return many of the works that were taken from the palace during the unfortunate expedition in 1897. Your Royal Majesty, I believe that this is a befitting birthday present for you.
Okay, guys, this was in 2019, and Obaseki projected that in 3 years, a Benin Royal Museum will be built to house the artifacts that were being to be returned. Now, I've seen a lot of people, depending on which side they are standing, discussing this matter on television. For the surrogate speaking for Obaseki, okay, they all, go to talk about, oh, this MOWAA is a different thing from the Benin Royal Museum. MOWAA was never part of the conversation in the very beginning. And if in 2019, Obaseki had said, Benin Royal Museum will be ready in 3 years. 3 years going from 2019 will be like 2020, 21, 2022. Now, nobody amongst all of these groups have asked, why was the Benin Royal Museum not ready? If MOWAA, that was never in the conversation, is ready. Why was the Benin Royal Museum not ready? Because that was what was in the conversation. Now, in the same 2019, okay, if I'm not mistaken, this is Obaseki's Facebook handle. And this is the statement he released, or his Facebook handle released. I just screenshot them from my phone, put them out here. It's on the 8th of July 2019. Why we are building Benin Royal Museum, BRM. The Edo State Governor Obaseki has said the state government is collaborating with the Benin monarch Oba Ewa II and other stakeholders to build a world-class royal museum to hold stolen artifacts from the Benin Kingdom, noting that the museum will conserve the artifacts and make the state a destination of choice for tourists from across the globe. The governor disclosed this at a breakfast with members of the Benin Dialogue Group. Now the question is, what changed? The question is, what changed? Why was the Benin Royal Museum not built and completed in 2022? It is look, guys. I beg, I just make we just use open mind. You understand? So maybe we understand where the cocoa inside the matter they come from, and the reason why it is difficult to condemn certain actions that are being taken by certain groups, group of people, as the case may be. Now, this was Obaseki. Okay. Now, we saw a lot. We did a lot of things did go on, following all of this. And there was a time, some years ago, I think it was in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, when the Omo himself had to, address his people to express dissatisfaction over the way the matter is being managed. Because following from there, Obaseki has had a series of meetings and every other thing. It now started looking like there's a case of, Obaseki having a different agenda to, what's it called, to, take over the whole process. I don't know what the agenda was. And there was one time where even Obaseki went to Germany with the crown prince And and all of that led to a lot of dust everywhere. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now, and every other thing, and urban expo. Now, the climax of this matter, where everything started changing, was a lot of these artifacts were to be returned. I mean, there was one lump sum that was going to be over 1,000 artifacts, and as a matter of fact, we also heard, based on flying information, that some people have made pledges. You understand what I'm saying now? Because the Benin artifacts across the world, it's something that has put the kingdom vividly on the map. You understand what I'm saying? In a way that people who are interested in that world know the kingdom, know the story, know the history. The one of the huge item of relevance to us as a kingdom was the 1897, is it 1897 invasion? Yeah, no, you know, and of course the cutting away of all of these artifacts, where we have thousands of them across European museums and every other thing. So when that matter was going on, President Muhammadu Buhari, late President Muhammadu Buhari, now gazetted, and made it clearly known that every artifact stolen from the kingdom to be returned to the kingdom must be under the custody of the Omonobanedo Ukuwapolopolo Oba Benin. Now that finally laid to rest where the artifacts will be coming. It is from that declaration we now started seeing the shifting of goalposts. I think that declaration angered or truncated what Obaseki probably had in mind. I'm just speculating. But from that declaration, as a matter of fact, things have built up to that point. Because according to one of the things the Omonoba cited at some point was lack of transparency. As a matter of fact, I did make a broadcast, during that period. We even the almost said that if Obaseki had been transparent and had played by the rules of engagement, that this is a matter that everybody in the state and beyond will benefit from. And Omo wasn't comfortable. Now, some people have messed themselves up in the course of this matter because of the way they have been talking, the nonsense they have been spewing out of their mouth. A lot of you may not understand the position of the palace of the Oba of Benin. But I'll give you a little example. If you are a man or a woman and either of your parents or either one of them has passed, maybe your father or your mother, and you grew up knowing that your father, who is late, actually had something he wanted to fulfill in his lifetime that he could not complete. As a son, you will take pride in fighting to make sure that that vision of your father becomes a reality. You will take pride in that. I mean, I'm just trying to explain the matter in a very small, on a scale that many of us who are listening could identify with. The idea of the Benin Royal Museum, the Benis know, you understand, either in this lifetime or the next, that the stolen artifacts, all of them, or almost all of them, will be returned at some point. They will all come back home at some point. And so the preparation to have a Benin Royal Museum was not muted by the current Oba Benin. This is a vision by his fathers before him. And so it is not an idea that he's going to play ball with or allow any politician of whatever intellectual capacity, to make joke of or to turn into a personal business or something like that. No, there is an established vision behind it. I am also sure that even the Obaseki or may not even know in its entirety the conceived vision of the Obas before the current Oba for the artifacts when they eventually return. He may not know holistically, but that is on the side. So that's just to say that the position of the palace, okay, let all of us begin to see it from the point of view of you with your own biological parents. Okay, for those people who don't have fathers or mothers anymore, you making effort to achieve something that your own biological parents could not achieve in their lifetime that you knew. I have things like that in my own family. Certain things that my father chased and wanted to do, but he passed. But I'm glad that we, the children, have been able to actualize some of those things. And we are proud. And yes, this was what my father actually wanted. And we've, tried to fulfill that majorly. And people have things like that and all of that. But let me not distract us too much. And then just to respond to, I see a lot of people that have become misguided, and honestly, Nathaniel, this matter is a developing story, not just on what is happening to MOWAA, but there are other small stories based on what individuals are doing, what individuals are saying, what individuals are aligning with. So many other stories are going to evolve from this matter. So when Buhari now gazetted and instructed that every stolen artwork from the kingdom will come under the custody of the Oba of Benin, the goalpost changed. And what became predominant that we started hearing was a MOWAA, Edo Museum of West African Art. A MOWAA. As a matter of fact, I think I have some pictures somewhere where, in the earlier conception, I don't know if I can have that, one of those pictures. I think it's part of this. If you look closely to this picture, where Edo Museum of West African, if you look very closely to it, Edo Museum of West African, this was part of the architectural vision, producing Latina and all of that, So it was conceived to be a Edo Museum of West African art, a MOWAA. So even when the MOWAA came out as part of the concept of what they want to build, under the little huge contention. Why a MOWAA? Apparently, the whole idea not behind the Benin Royal Museum, or basically because he was governor and of course he was spearheading this process. Change where this thing comes to the custody of the palace. Let him just go private with it. Naharania, Edo State has made huge investment into this project. We also understood where there were donors, international donors, that wanted to see this happen, that were making donations to ensure where this thing, was established. That's on one part. But let me zero into another part that many of you may not have thought of. And that other part is this. The reason at all why a museum is necessary and this discourse will take place and why this is an important matter is because Edo State, Benin City is on the map. This kingdom was invaded. Thousands of artwork stolen, scattered across various museums in the world. Because of all of that, the Benin Kingdom is hugely on the global map. It is one of the most recognized kingdoms in the world because of the history of the people, the history of this kingdom. And so the relevance of having, an edifice to house stolen works that have been making money for the British, for the Germans, for the Americans, for the Italians, for everybody all over the world, cannot be overemphasized. if Benin has no historical artistic relevance today, I am not sure any governor would be even interested in having it. So the foundation of where Ahiane, an edifice called a museum that has our work, because these works that are in different museums, they already have huge patronage. And now the Vienna, wherever you take them to, the patronage will also go with them. That is the conception. So now I mean where with Obaseki now, having all the information about present to him and seeing that things are not going the way he will not go, what his motive, would have been in my head. Some people argue it was selfish. I cannot speak independently of that, but we cannot assume where yes, it was selfish. You understand me? We can only speak to that assumption. But with things not going this way, honor to change the goalpost, honor to change it to a MOWAA, Edo Museum of West African Art. I did make a broadcast during that time. I made an argument now. Okay, if you have the vision of a MOWAA, now is there not a way? I made that a public statement. Now, is there not a way for us to have the Benin Royal Museum and a MOWAA, within the same edifice, more or less? Probably with Benin Royal Museum being the umbrella name, then the West African part of it, we have a way that, so that everything can be married together. Okay, as part of this whole structure, a part in any other way structure now is housing the returned artifacts in their thousands, while the other part is housing other works from different other African, enclaves. You understand what I'm saying? Now, with all of the research team being involved in matter, about a whole city. But where this is the Benin Royal, edifice. No house, Museum of West African Art, and of course, the Benin Art. I made that suggestion publicly, just to make sure women everything is accommodated. But what I observed that I'm speaking to is that where Obaseki, instead of deploying this me speaking now, his intelligence, okay. I don't wear Ahian holding and with man. If you want fuck deaf and dumb, you go show up pennies. Because if you talk, if you don't understand, you go to demonstrate them. You understand the picture from I'm saying? Instead of Obaseki, for me, displaying that transparency on your creative problem because the relevance of where this museum and every other thing cannot be extricated from the fact that where the kingdom is already an established kingdom that the whole world in the world of art recognizes. You go to the British Museum, it works away the Benin Kingdom near Dovio. It's so many people pay to go and see there. So if you take those ones out of that place and bring them to the kingdom and house them in a proper museum, near the British Museum, they will still pay to come to the kingdom to come and see it. So you cannot privately or selfishly, understand what I'm saying now, start eating the benefits of what people have paid with lives and city destroyed and things scattered away. And a glory in many, you will now steal that glory and create one thing, give it a different name. Who don't have a private this thing, no, but yet the real history behind all of the relevance is hugely bettered on the exploits of our forefathers, bettered on the suffering. The suffering suffer when the expedition came and had destroyed me here. And as a matter of fact, the ancestor of the correct Oba Vorone, was moved in Moari Calabar. That is a bitter story we have endured. That on you linger here. But somehow, we no de yaoru, on do de waoa. The leaf when they say make it form, make it cover, come open face. Somehow, after all that bitterness, the works of the kingdom stolen from the kingdom have now helped to put the kingdom on a bigger map. That the world, I mean, just yesterday here, when I was at work, I happened to have a client who is one small. She said artwork or she was in a place where a very big feminine artwork. You understand me? They say art pieces. They collect. They have people who collect artworks from everywhere. And I asked her, in a way, do you have artworks from Benin Kingdom? On her way, she has heard of Benin Kingdom, but yeah, any art. On her way, okay. Do you want us to go into partnership? Right? Because we have guild of art makers, guild of artists in a place called Egun. And I was giving her some education about Benin Kingdom that she never knew. And I gave her my kind of way, reach me. We can speak with some of our art makers in Egun and channel a business through. I could do that because as a kingdom, Benin Kingdom already has an established name. But it will be travesty for somebody to ride, because the whole thing not only to MOWAA started from where Ahiavi artwork is, and that's one solicited support to build a world-class museum. And now the Ugedo state, that's in there. But apart from that, you granted the certificate of occupancy CFO. Cannot boy in a part of a state hospital and not destroy to accommodate that space. A state hospital that is serving the people of the state and not destroy to accommodate a museum that we are today told is a private business. Aveni Horion. You see, for people who don't know, I'm just trying to establish, there are so many subplots inside of this matter, okay? But what has happened is that we have a truth in a properly beautiful edifice, a museum. But this truth of this museum is shrouded in lies, in deceit, and it has made all of us victims. All of us. What happened there, the destruction that took place there, the anger in the guys, who went there to create that, this to make sure where those things that they wanted to do, would not happen. That anger, broke my heart. It broke my heart, not just because of the action carried out by this man, but by the action premeditated carried out by Obaseki to lead us to where we are. Now, let me branch a bit to Obaseki so that we understand. Because whatever you are saying with this museum, okay, for me, I've become very critical of Obaseki, not because, but I'm open-minded to this matter. But I must make this inference. Whatever we are saying right now with this museum and all of the mystery surrounding it that Obaseki knows is very much characteristics in every other aspect of Obaseki as governor of Edo State. Not just about this museum. The things that are unfolding right now, there is the exact way Obaseki actually governed Edo State. Obaseki was always moving the goalposts at his own interest. He called this thing a MOWAA. Surprisingly, when this guy is coming up, I'm now seeing that the E was removed. It is now MOWAA. Apparently, he has been, he has already now moved the goalpost again. He started from Benin Royal Museum. He now created a MOWAA. That because for Edo State not to have anything to do with this matter, he now turned it to MOWAA. And I'll tell you why he did. If Aswa Iwodalo had won and had become the governor of Edo State, this edifice would have been called a MOWAA. The name would not have changed. Many of you will recall when Aswa was contesting the election, part of the things Obaseki wanted to make sure that he would sit on. Is this part of this museum? Like I said earlier, this museum ought to have been the indelible legacy of Obaseki as governor of Edo State. For me, yes. But if that still will be, time will tell. Because I have not taken away from him the effort he may have put into this. And all of the things, all the vision and every other thing to make this thing world class, I will not take that away from him. But if he's still going to enjoy that accolade, time will tell. Because leading to that point is all the things I'm trying to break down since. If Francois had become governor, this story will be different. We will not be talking about MOWAA, we will be talking about a MOWAA. Now, I want to establish Obaseki a bit more. Obaseki governed Edo State for 8 years. If many of you would see social media right now, Obaseki is paying thank you visit to Edos in Europe, from Germany to Italy to UK. You know, it's moving around, saying thank you, paying thank you visit. And it started this some weeks ago. Now again, this is part of the Obaseki that I know. Now the question I've asked internally was, you governed Edo State people for 8 years. You did not pay thank you visit to Redo, to Ego, to Ovia, to Esako West, to Esako East. You did not pay thank you visit to any part of Eastern land. The people you directly governed. But you are paying thank you visit to the people you did not govern. The people who are under the governance of another nation. The people who are surviving by the policies and programs of another country. The people who are subservient to the laws guiding other countries. You are paying thank you. The people whom you did not even recognize when you were governor, who did not play any role, you did not even invite to play any role in your own government. You are going there now to sweet talk. And you know why he was doing that? He embarked on this journey of paying thank you visits because the time to inaugurate the MOWAA arrangement was coming. And so to whip up more sentiment and drag Edo diaspora support to himself, he needed to do that. Interestingly, I watched the television and I see some of his prodigies, some of his people who worked with him come to television to defend that, MOWAA is a private this thing, it's not the government this thing. The people I have not seen come to television to talk are the private owners of the MOWAA. Because I want to see those ones more to defend that it is their own. Why is it the people who are with Obaseki, the surrogates of Obaseki, are the ones who are on television every day, every night and day, try to drag the matter? It's a private, this is private. If it's a private this and it's not Obaseki has no links to it, then what the heck? Man, more than rest now. Why are you people trying to, what is the argument now? Well, let the private owners come to television and say, man, we own it. We own it. But we are not seeing them. But we are seeing people who serve as commissioners to Obaseki, people who are, who are loyalists of Obaseki, people who are probably are speculated under his payroll, some of them social media, voices. They are the ones dragging to say it's not a state government, this thing does not belong to the palace, it is a private company. And yet, you are defending Obaseki over what's supposed to be a private company. But the private company or the private entity is not coming to come and talk to Edo State and Nigerians and the world that this matter is their own. I think we should ponder on that a little bit, because if I am private, I own an edifice like this privately, and this matter was disrupted like this, bringing a huge disgrace, more or less, to us, I will be everywhere defending my investment. I will be everywhere defending my investment. Even though I cannot independently, ascertain this, it is being speculated The Iheanacho guy, who is the director of the place, who's, is somebody who works with Obaseki in his Afri Invest. So these are some of the things that are shrouding these things. And I cannot independently verify that, but that is being speculated. And it's very hard for me to doubt things like that because I have known this Obaseki in the past couple of years. And when I started criticizing this guy, no, the level of the city in this guy is too much. I knew. And that's why I said that the things that have characterized this MOWAA arrangement right now, okay, are the exact replica of the way Obaseki governed Edo State in all aspects. In all aspects. Because he's always having some interests that is not the interest of Edo State people. You understand what I'm saying now? That he wants to protect. It pains me. It breaks my heart. The reason is because of a truth. I will not take it away from him. This man, like I said, is a man of very high intellectual sagacity. There is no doubt about that. It's just that when intellectualism, is wrapped with deceit, these are the kind of things we get out of it. Because normally, data Obaseki wa play by the role of transparency in the genuine interests of Edo State and genuinely working with the whole thing that brought about having a museum. Because I'm sure that Yoba did not go and see Obaseki to tell him what he desired from his father and his grandfather. And I'm sure Obaseki will not even chase anything else to make a museum. Obaseki had that discussion, started working in Lana. As a matter of fact, the Benin enemy group that he talked about, you understand, Imenania? At some point, he changed the thing to name something trust. Evanio or Monobana the Swan, what is happening here? We had the let me.
Before I end my speech, as you know,
This is what I'm talking about now. We had the what's it called the Benin Dialogue Group. At some point, he changed this to something legacy trust. Evanio Monobana, what is happening here? The whole agenda that began this process was this is what he said by himself, where stakeholders a world-class museum to hold solely Benin artifacts from Benin Kingdom. Now, in this whole this thing, when he was addressing the urban, of course, some dignitaries, he said in 3 years there will be a Benin Royal Museum. MOWAA was not in the picture. Now we have MOWAA, but we still don't have Benin Royal Museum, and people have not questioned why. So the people, his own surrogates and those who are defending him are talking about a lot of things. And the simple question, who you told in 3 years, the Benin Royal Museum will be ready. Where's the Benin Royal Museum? Where is it? And people have made donations, made contributions to have that actualized. But instead of using that resource now to actualize and build a Benin Royal Museum, which this ought to be, it was not a case of changing the name to a MOWAA. Who will not be angered by that? Talking from the position of the palace. Now, if you talk about this land, the land of Benin Kingdom, okay, Obaseki is not acting like an Oriove. No, hold on to me that Okegbe. Take your mind around somewhere and ask yourself, suppose everything had gone on transparently. What we are discussing right now, are you sure we'll be discussing it? I'm sure that everybody will be, even though you have a governor of a different political party, your accolade as a former governor of Edo State will definitely not pass you by as far as this matter is concerned. And that's what is happening. Okpebholo has now revoked the CFO. of this edifice, and all of this is happening that some of us may not generally agree with. Well, I just tell people, in a way, I just wanted to put my mouth during the matter as I know I'm rich. But the matter is a lot deeper than this. But that said, we can see where the truth is. The truth is in the edifice itself, which is a world-class edifice. The lies are the processes that have led to this. The shifting of goalposts by Obaseki at will. I would not be surprised tomorrow they come out and remove, the West Africa inside the matter and turn it to a different name, because for them, changing the nomenclature is not a problem. Understanding Enania. So, but the edifice as a world-class beauty is one that is shrouded in loads of deceit and lies. And the action that took place where the ambassadors and dignitaries were embarrassed also brought embarrassment to all of us and made all of us victims. And today, people are speaking from different sides of their mouth. There are those right now, apologists of Obaseki, which is part of what he came to rekindle by going from one Europe place to another, saying he's coming for a thank you visit. The people you thoroughly abandoned when you were governor for your last 4 years, you did not even know whether they existed. They are the people you are paying thank you visit to. But the people you actually governed, Umaya paid thank you visit to them. The people whose money you expended, Umaya paid thank you visit to them. But you are going around the people you did not govern just because you want to whip up this sentiment and drag more attention to yourself. That was the same way he won his second term. Many of us keyed into that agenda. He knew what he wanted, and he used all of us to get what he wanted, except that we didn't know that this man can sustain your loyalty to him while his deception will be going on because he's that smart. People are talking about Ukbewolo right now. Obaseki's governance is making Ukbewolo relevant to a lot of people. Otherwise, if Obaseki had raised the bar and led the stage in a very glorious manner, Ukbewolo would have been long exposed more than this. And that is the simple truth in the matter that some of us have observed. And we can speak to these things because some of us did not falter, we did not eat our vomit. We can speak to it as confidently as possible. Now, let us talk about Governor Ukbewolo. I don't know. I'm not going to share this, but if I share, Governor Ukbewolo, I want to appeal to you with all due respect. You set some things in motion. You set up a committee to look into this matter. The House of Assembly is trying to review some things and every other thing. And at the same time, you are signing CFO to revoke CFO of this thing. What are you driving? What do you want? Are you going there to go and destroy the edifice? The most iconic, or rather, apart from your Bas Palace, one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic edifice we have in Edo State today is that edifice. I beg you, Ukbewolo, irrespective of whatever has gone on, because I won't be surprised you carry caterpillar, because you are very good at carrying caterpillar. You go there tomorrow and go and destroy things. I beg, do not destroy that building, because most of what you have been doing is the few things that Obaseki would have done that are okay that you need to build on. You are reversing all of them. You are reversing all of them, and it's not right. If there's something Obaseki has done that is working, that is good, why not build on it? Make it better. Your own is to ensure that Obaseki has no trace in the land. I beg, not destroy MOWAA. I beg you. Ukbewolo, I beg. MOWAA, that building went there. If I want to change the name to Benin Royal Museum and every other thing, that is fine. But please, let this museum serve her purpose. I beg you in the name of the Almighty. Anybody when you say get up, help me beg him. Because this man, I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised. I cannot independently verify this. I look at him and somehow I think the man is autistic. I think so, because When people are autistic, they are black and white. It's either like this or like this. They don't really get balancing act. Most of them. Okay. I'm only just speculating. I cannot verify that he's autistic, but something tells me from his aura, the way he articulates his things, he's got visible trace of autism. It's not really a big thing per se, because I'm not trying to denigrate him or something. A lot of us, have autism. On a level, people have different level of being autistic, autism spectrum and all of that. I think Okpebolo has, a medium level. This is my own thinking. I have not assessed him, so I cannot exactly say. But I do know that people who have some advanced stage of autism spectrum, it is black and white. He may just have concord now that he wants to destroy that place to pepper Obaseki. He will forget the overall good that this edifice will be in the long run for those people. Most of all, if you do 8 years, that edifice is going to outlive you. Everybody alive today, if everything is okay, everybody will die and leave that edifice. And that edifice will serve the interest of people who they never even born. People will find work for them. So I beg you, there's a bigger picture. I like that all of the errors are corrected. I like that every error procedurally that Obaseki has made, I like that they are corrected. But let this museum serve its purpose. They built it on Central Hospital land. Fine. The land is still Edo State land. The museum is in Edo State. The artifacts and the works in there, they're already in Edo State. All the visitors coming, they're coming to Edo State to come and see it. I think that all that has happened, what everybody should do now is to find a way to make the hen go to roost, bring everybody to a round table and amend things where things have derailed. That museum is in Edo State. That interest of saying a private this and a private this thing, I think that should be dealt with. It should not be private. It should be a matter that belongs to Edo State. It should be a matter that will accommodate, if not belong to the palace of the Oba of Benin. But whichever way it is going to be resolved, I think the matter should be resolved and allow the museum to serve its purpose. The issue of revoking a CFO frightens me. It frightens me to the point that I'm afraid that you may just carry Caterpillar tomorrow to go to that place and destroy the things there. Please don't do it. Don't destroy it. I beg of you, don't destroy it. Sit with the palace and all of the interest inside the matter. Let everybody come together. Let us come to a round table and have an amicable resolution. If you ask me what I want that place to be called the Benin Royal Museum. And I also would appreciate if you guys would take my advice to have, as part of the whole edifice, maybe have another face, expand it in a way that part of it will also accommodate the interest of, West African arts. So that let the West African arts, be part of the process. So that part of it, we have our stolen artifacts that are being returned. And all other arts from Africa will also be housed in there. But let it be there. In fulfillment of the age-long vision of the Palace of the Oba Benin, that we shall have a world-class museum called Benin Royal Museum. This will be my suggestion in this matter. So that Emaya that have been offended over what this other reaction, has caused, let us appease everybody, come to open a fresh page, get everything organized, and then let us organize another grand opening for the museum that the world will attend and the global media will attend to as well. I think that way we can restore the glory of this whole process and everything again will be in line. This would be my humble suggestion. That said, anyone, I just thought that I come to also add my voice because I've been quiet monitoring and observing things. There's so many subplots. Some of them, there's no need to talk about them, but you have seen many of them. But for the other Edo State people, everywhere, I want to appeal to us. Let's be guarded. Let's be thoroughly guarded. Whatever we do today, we echo tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying? We are just misbehaving. We are just talking anyhow. I feel like home, Let's be guarded. Allow, because nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. My understanding. Everybody, my if I saw it in a passport, I mean European passport, I mean UK passport, I mean different passports. But wow, wow, even if you hold British passports, wow. American, so if I saw it in an American passport, you revoke a passport or but what cannot be revoked of those people or in their Nigerian passports? I hear of a case now, a current case of somebody, he had a passport in Nene. This is a living case. He had a passport in Nene. Even though he had a passport in me, a case where I don't know, no matter where I say. I have a family organ. I'm more in law in a jar. I'm more in a process bine. Can you process bine if I discover man, I mean, I be better boy. If you saw where I want me here. I didn't learn you to process bine. Call you to be call you know me here. But I hear me a Nigerian passport because be Nigerian. Allow if I'm a or marry rights in Nima. Some of us, let's be careful. Let's be careful. And apart from that, we're all from Edo State. On your dad, Obaseki is supposed to be a symbol of our own national unity, whether we are home or we are abroad. But Obaseki's administration is the administration of the divide ever in the history of the land. There is no administration that we have seen that has divided us more than Obaseki's administration. It pains me. I work about that, man. I had a governor, not a Simakokbe, but right now, even now, his own matter is still dividing us. We're not losing our senses. My mind where they are so many things. It's very important. Let's ponder, let's think. It matter way. Let's know all those talk. Oh man, say private. There's so many questions. Let the private owners come out and talk and address the world. You'll be defending Obaseki. If it's a private, it's Obaseki interested, but then why are you defending Obaseki? Leave Obaseki alone. Obaseki is no longer governor. But he's sending you. Obaseki knows a private this thing is not, it does not belong to the palace. Where are the private owners? Why is it that we are hearing from you, former commissioner? Why are we hearing from you, former this? Why are we hearing from you, an aide? Why are we not hearing from the people who own it? You are defending Obaseki. Hey, Obaseki has no hand in this. And so, where are the private owners? Let's ponder and come home. Like I said, we are all victims. For me, the future is, please lead the way. Bring all of us together. All interest groups, bring them together so that we can have one harmonious agenda around this matter. And set up another date where we shall have a proper inauguration and grand opening of this arrangement. Whatever people are agreeing on, and those people will accept. I get only here or on that note, my people, I want to say God bless you all. Please share the broadcast if you could. We'll talk again when we could. My name is Comrade Lamdi. And please don't forget, we still have Brisk VCU still running very strongly. Download and do things directly from wherever you are abroad. I'll leave that with you for now. God bless you.
Stressing about how to send money home for bills? What if you could handle it in seconds? With Brisk VTU, you can top up airtime, pay for electricity, cable TV, and more. Right from your phone. No middleman, no delays. Just instant transactions at the best rates. Stay connected, support your loved ones, and enjoy cashbacks while at it. Download the app today. Brisk VTU. Fast, easy, rewarding.